Welcome to Around the Blockchain. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Awesome. Hillorie, welcome to Around the Blockchain. If you can just introduce yourself to the viewers for me.
Hey Ryan, thanks for having me here. So yes, my name is Hillorie, and currently my thing in the crypto space is I am teaching people around the world how to trade crypto for a living. That is my thing. I personally am so all about crypto, and my little quick journey is I started trading in the Forex markets back in 2013, and I actually learned from two Australians who are still my mentors to today, but they no longer teach Forex trading. But that was the progression. Long story short, went from Forex to crypto, love what crypto is about. And I'm just really happy to be here and educate people because there's a lot of misinformation out there and we need real good information and reliable sources. So that's what I'm doing now.
Absolutely. We need good educators in the space. So it's cool to see someone like yourself doing that. So you got into Forex trading and then, sorry, were you doing anything before that or was that sort of like your first sort of gig?
Well, I did the traditional path, recommended societal path. So did the school thing, went to university for 5 years. It was a 4-year program, but I enjoyed partying. I majored in accounting. So after I graduated in 2013, I got my CPA designation. I think you guys in Australia have the CPA designation as well, right?
I believe so,
Yeah.
yeah.
So I did that. That was another 2.5 years, $15,000 of debt. And I stepped foot in the corporate world. And I think in 2 months, I think the first 2 months, I was like, yeah, I actually have a full-time job, set hours, set schedule, because I was working in malls since I was 14. So I was like, this is so fun. And then that wore off really quick. I was like, oh my God, I don't think I can do this. And I was like, maybe it's just the job. So I found another job downtown Toronto at like an international real estate brokerage firm. And I was excited for the first 3 months, same thing. And then it wore off. And I was like, yeah, this is not going to work. And yeah, at the same time, like during that second accounting job I had, my partner and I started our online business, just like selling rave shades, sunglasses. And I guess that just opened me into this world of business. And that's how I somehow found trading. Sort of related, sort of not related, but it's, I was really into multiple streams of income, which I still am, but that's kind of how I got started in the whole trading gig.
And what year did you discover crypto?
Well, it was, I think, as soon as I started Forex trading, I knew about crypto. I knew about Bitcoin. But I did not take it seriously until about 2015, 2016. That's when I started actually monitoring the Bitcoin charts and seeing how, the market cycles play into the technicals of the S&P 500, for example, the US dollar, or any other currency.
Yeah, wow. And so there's obviously quite a lot of overlap there.
Yeah, especially today, especially this day. But yeah, back then it was cool because we're just trying to get like the grasp of it. Like, do they correlate? Do they not correlate? Is this going to be a thing? And while I personally was sure that Bitcoin was going to be something we needed, I was still scared. I was scared to put my real, actual hard-earned money into it.
Probably like everybody else as well. I think yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So what people are feeling today, that's what I was feeling like all those years ago.
Yeah, absolutely. That so recently, obviously, like as of yesterday for us, there was a big green sort of candle. What did you sort of think about that? Obviously, there was quite a few Twitter posts and stuff about what had sort of happened, but what's your sort of take on what happened there? I think the price
Yeah,
jumped
that
from
was super unexpected. And me and my team, we were like, yeah, it looks like it's got some room, like some downside room to go still before we get some news to pop it up. But I guess it was that Amazon rumor that just made it, just soar, which is cool to see because we've been in that consolidation phase since end of May. And usually in the summer, that is what happens across all financial markets. Things are slow, markets are consolidating, choppy. And this happened last year as well. So in June 2020, it was like, come on, come on. But yeah, I was personally expecting it to go down maybe mid 20s before popping up due to some news, but I guess the news came early, earlier than expected.
Is that something you analyze as well? Like I've spoken to a few traders in the past, and a lot of them kind of, in my opinion, just sort of they say that they just look at the charts, and that's basically it. They don't take in any kind of news or outside noise. But obviously, that's something you do. That's probably a little bit different to a lot of traders, that you sort of analyze the news and that sort of thing. Is that right?
Actually, I would say I'm like 98% technicals. I'm 90, like the charts tell you everything you want to see most of the time. If anyone watching is familiar with technical analysis is a self-fulfilling prophecy in most cases. But other than technical analysis, I don't look at fundamentals too much. What I do look at though is like macroeconomic stuff. So like what's going on in the world. So I won't be like, what's Amazon doing? What's Jeff Bezos doing? What's Elon Musk saying? But it's more like, what are the macro scale happenings in the world, and how will this affect Bitcoin or crypto? Because we do need to look at that. So news pieces, not really. I'm not into that like hype, because news pieces cause knee-jerk reactions, and knee-jerk reactions don't last long. What we want is to see, sustainable trends in the technicals and the charts, and that's what I am 98% focused on.
And I'm guessing that's what you teach in your course, yeah?
Yes, I do. Yeah, a lot of it is technicals, a lot of it is charts, but a lot of it is also things that beginners, even intermediate traders, and when I say intermediate, I don't mean skill level, I guess intermediate as like time in the market or time investing. A lot of people don't know that it's actually a lot of mindset, psychology and mindset, risk management, probability modeling. It's all those things too. And I love teaching those. So everything I mentioned, along with technicals and chart reading, yes, that's what I teach.
What are some of the, obviously, deeper things that you guys go into in your course? And then I kind of want to chat a little bit about some mistakes that beginners sort of make as well, that you would have obviously observed quite a lot being in that sort of market.
I guess really quickly, some deeper things we observe besides like the mindset component is risk management and probability modeling. These are things that I have personally not seen in a lot of other crypto courses, or in trading courses, period. And it's kind of like a different way to look at the world. It's like how you measure pretty much any decision you are ever going to make in life. You need to look at like, how do I manage my risk, because not everything is going to go the way you plan or want. So there's risk management, and there's also what are the chances of doing the opposite, or doing something entirely different. So that's something we go deep into, and yeah, it's one of my favorite chapters in my course, risk management and probabilities. But it's really hard to kind of encapsulate in like, let's say like a 1 minute summary. But yes, that's something we go deep in. And you asked what are some things that people should avoid?
Yeah, just before we move on to that though, you just mentioned mindset. How obviously important is that for a trader? Because you talk to a lot of people in the industry, and people sort of say, don't get emotionally attached to any kind of outcome that could possibly eventuate. What sort of stuff do you guys teach in terms of mindset there to, I guess, help help prepare people for that?
Pretty much, I go into what humans are biologically wired to do. And the surprising thing is, we are not meant to be traders. Humans are so bad at trading. That's why we need to kind of decondition and rewire our minds, because all that humans can see is danger, 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 danger. We want to stay safe. And a lot of times in the markets, we take the wrong signal. So something might look dangerous, let's say to the human eye and to the human mind, but that's exactly the way it's supposed to go. I don't know if that makes sense the way I'm explaining it, but humans always do the wrong thing at the wrong time. Like we're always doing the opposite thing. So that takes a lot of delving deep into, and just learning how the human mind works and how to overcome I guess, fighting the fear and fighting the greed, because a lot of trading is super uncomfortable because you're going against what you are biologically wired to do. So the mindset component is something you really, really need to work on. And like I said, like we teach technicals and how to read charts and all that, but you can have the perfect strategy. There's none, by the way. There's no holy grail strategy, but you can have the most profitable strategy. But if you did not train your mind to have a bulletproof trader's mindset, you won't be profitable. Like that's how important the mindset and psychology component is in investing.
Yeah, wow.
It's really scary.
That's
It's
cool.
like a lifelong journey.
Sorry to interrupt. Yeah, that's cool that you guys teach that, obviously, right? Because you talk about you speak to a lot of people in the industry itself, and you just hear some horror stories about people going like, yeah, like I know where I mucked up, but emotionally I was just too invested in that particular trade, or my ego got in the way, and I just couldn't I couldn't take a 5 or 10% loss, which ended up being 50% plus sometimes in some cases. So like, yeah, it's good that you guys teach that sort of as a mindset.
Yeah, it's like the first big thing you get into that I throw at you. So important. So important. And so many people don't do it. They skip it because they think I don't need it. Like mindset, what does that have to do with trading? But they don't understand it has to do so much with trading. Like it will determine whether you're successful or not. And that's why a lot of people aren't successful in the markets, sad to say, because they're not aware they need to train their mind.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, moving on, what are some of the biggest mistakes newbies make that are, obviously just entering the market? And obviously, like right now is probably an important time to discuss some of these things as the market itself seems to just continue to grow and grow. But yeah, what are some of the biggest mistakes you've seen sort of newbies make?
I guess kind of tied into like not being aware that you need to learn about risk management, probabilities, mindset, psychology is thinking you can do it on your own. So me as myself, like I am a DIY person. I like to do everything on my own. I like to research myself, learn myself, but and I know this is going to sound biased coming from me being an educator, but learning how to invest and trade is not something you can figure out on your own. Like you need a mentor, whether it's free or paid, a group of mentors or one mentor, you need some sort of guidance because this is not something you can figure out on your own. If you are trading or investing, like long-term investing, you need a strategy. And a strategy is not something you can just piecemeal. Like, I'm going to try this and this. Like, it doesn't work that way. And that's why a lot of people fail because they think, I'm going to learn this on my own. I'm going to figure it out on my own. I am going to make myself this cocktail recipe for some strategy. And who knows where they've picked these things up from, right? Because there's, 90% of traders fail. So if you're just taking that, like, what are the odds that you are piecemealing your strategy from 10% of the successful people in the market? And that's why, a mistake I see a lot is people think they can do this on their own and figure it out on their own. And while the educational component for like blockchain and crypto, sure, you can definitely, YouTube binge that, you can Google search that to like the 10th page, but there comes a point where you kind of hit this fence, I guess you can say. Like beyond that, you need to find a professional, someone that knows what they're doing, a mentor, not just like some person that gives out free videos where they shill coins and platforms and exchanges. Like you need to learn from someone who knows what they're doing.
It's funny you mentioned that, the space is so convoluted with, unfortunately, with people like that, that basically, yeah, attract newbies and yeah, just shill tokens or just bad information. So it's good to see someone in that space like yourself who's actually, taking the time to teach these people, some actual proper techniques, obviously, when it comes to technical trading.
Yes, I love spreading the knowledge. Love it.
What are some tips to become a better trader for people who are interested in obviously pursuing that?
Something that I speak about in my course and to my students is something really easy that you can do right now is work on your diet and nutrition and your fitness. And I know that sounds so weird, And I tell my students, I'm like, I know you didn't sign up to learn from me just to hear, hey, start working out and go on a diet. Like, I know that's not it, but honestly, that is a really quick way to rewire your thinking and your mind, and just to sharpen your mindset as well. Because, if you put good stuff in your body, your mind works better, your body works better, you're more sharp when you look at the charts, you're not foggy. And another thing is, as I mentioned, trading is one of the hardest things to do in the world. Um, and that comes down to, instant gratification and doing the things that are uncomfortable. And the best way to train yourself to do the uncomfortable things is actually to exercise. Because, some days a lot of us don't want to wake up and exercise because it's painful, or we're lazy, or we just don't feel like it, we're not motivated, or it hurts, right? You get sore from the day before. You don't want to do it again today. But your fitness, like working out and exercising, is probably one of the best tips I have to just get started and get yourself on that success path.
Interesting. Yeah, I'm quite a big proponent of the gym as well. Try and hit the gym 2 or 3 times a week, and I also do Brazilian jiu-jitsu, or I just call it jiu-jitsu. But
Nice.
so yeah, I find all that sort of stuff really helps with not just physically, but like that mental clarity as well. You don't want to
Yes.
run
And
around.
you don't know it until you start, working out or becoming active. Like, you don't realize that, right? As someone that's like stagnant and just sits all day, you don't know until you try and you're like, oh, this is what I'm supposed to feel like. And
Yeah,
yeah, it really helps.
really helps with that brain fog.
Yep. Yep. And it helps you make better decisions because, trading, it's one of two things, right? You're buying or you're selling. And, in any random scenario, that's a 50-50 chance for win or lose. So how are you going to know which side to take? And that takes mental clarity to figure it out.
Absolutely. Look, your course has had quite a few participants. Do you mind discussing a little bit about how many people you've had, and then do the course, and then also like where these people are kind of coming from? Are you sort of international, or is there a certain hotspot of people that are jumping on
Actually,
board?
yeah, I don't have I the last time I did the count was like May, so I'm pretty late on that. I'm just taking the summer off. But Australia is where my biggest group of students are. So it's
Interesting.
Australia, and then Canada, and then US, and then a bunch of others. So last count in May, there was over 70 countries where my students are from my paid students. And
Wow.
yeah, yeah, really
Interesting.
cool. And I have a free course as well, which is I'm just teaching people about Bitcoin, what it is, how it works. Sorry, about crypto in general, and how to buy it from wherever you are in the world. And that one, I believe, has 10,000 members.
Wow.
Yeah, a lot, a lot. It's
Huge.
really cool. I love it.
Yeah, that's awesome. And so how many people have you got sort of working for you behind the scenes? You've got a bit of a team of people, yeah?
Actually, no.
Oh,
Up
okay.
until April 15th, it was a one-man show.
Wow.
And then I got super burnt out. I love, being one-on-one with my students and being that person to provide support and help, but it got a bit too much. I was just trying to do everything at once, and it was catching up to me. So as of right now, there are two people other than me on my team. So they're just helping with support. And I hired on a coach to help me. He also learned Forex trading from the same Australian mentors as I did. So I trust him. We learn the same things. We trade the same. We think almost the same when it comes to charts. So yeah, team of three right now.
That's awesome. I thought you had such a much bigger team, to be honest, just based on
Nope.
how active your group is, and yeah, obviously how busy you seem to be. So that's cool. You're obviously juggling a lot of plates and doing a lot of those sort of things right, which is awesome.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, I like if people think I'm big, then that's cool. I'll take it.
Where do you sort of plan on going with obviously your course, and being an educator and that sort of thing? What sort of vision do you have for your future?
Um, well, I guess like my biggest vision is just to be that light in the crypto and trading space, because this area is so littered with scammers, right? Like a lot of bad apples, a lot of scammers, and it sucks because that takes us away from crypto, right? Like I personally want to see everyone involved in crypto. And maybe, one day soon we won't have a chance. We won't have a choice, sorry, to not be involved in crypto. But I just hate how so many people are getting taken advantage of. So first things first, I just want to be that person that people can look to and be like, if I ever need a reliable source of information, I can go to Hillorie Lee. But on, I guess, the business and education side of things, my goal, my very big goal, is to reach 1 million families with my teaching. And that doesn't mean 1 million students per se, but that could be like, hey, if I'm teaching you, Ryan, maybe you teach your friends and you help someone else. Like maybe you help 5 other people. So that's what I mean by empowering 1 million families.
That's awesome. I really like what you said before that as well about, being sort of like a shining light and sticking out within the crypto industry. It's actually one of the main reasons I started the podcast was I just saw so many YouTubers, filling the space with, yeah, I'm not going to name people's names, but
We know who.
Yeah, we know who we're talking about. But yeah, just people like obviously filling the space and shilling coins and then, basically just trying to fill up their own pockets. And I just saw that as like one of those things where it's just like, how do these people not have any integrity? It didn't sit well with me. So I was like, well, I'm just going to try and sit down with people who aren't doing that, who are specialists within inside the crypto space, because there's so much to learn. Every single person I speak to, like yourself, I learn something new from every single time I speak to somebody. Why not try and bring that to a wider audience? And I can just sit there and look like the idiot on the other side of the screen and
Yeah, I love it.
ask
I
the
love
questions.
it.
So yeah, I'm glad you said that as well. It's cool to meet someone that's like-minded like that. So where do you see the crypto space going? You just mentioned that you think one day we probably won't have a choice. It'll just be part of our lives. Is that sort of a vision you something you envision happening?
Oh yeah, I am a long-term crypto. There's no other way. Crypto, Bitcoin is the answer. Like if somebody doesn't understand why crypto is the answer, then I know for a fact they do not understand how our current monetary system works, how economic cycles work, boom and bust cycles. And that's where I'll tell them, like I'll point them in that direction, like, hey, watch this documentary or check read this article, because it's really needed. It's really needed. And I think because of the pandemic, it just fast forwarded everything. Like look at how everyone's working from home now. Like that happened so quick. Like we thought that would take us until 2040 for it to be, a trend for corporations to catch on, but it's like a few months and everyone's working from home. So I think with crypto, like, yes, soon I don't think we will have a choice. Like we're gonna see CBDCs, central bank digital currencies, being airdropped into our digital crypto wallets. And yeah, I mean it's here to stay for sure. It's here to stay. It's not going anywhere. There's so many use cases for it. Like if you're not looking at it as like just a payment currency option and you're looking at it as like a smart contract, Ethereum, Binance Smart Chain, all these, like there's so many cool use cases for it that it's really overwhelming when you start learning about it. It's like holy crap. But if you just think about how we use the internet today, maybe 20, how old are we? Just trying to think. I always think like 1990 was 10 years ago. So let's say, yeah, like 20 years ago, 25 years ago, we didn't think we would be using the internet to shop, right? Like all we did when we were kids was go to the mall. All we did as kids was go to the arcade. And now we play games online on the internet. We listen to music on the internet. We send mail through the internet. We talk on the phone through the internet. We have, interviews and meetings on the internet. We pay our bills, we do our banking, we meet friends, meet people, we find love on the internet. And that's kind of like what I see for crypto, because there's so many use cases for crypto and blockchain and smart contracts that we aren't even thinking of right now. And I think that's just going to infiltrate into our lives. And yeah, it's going to be big.
I think that's a great sort of way to describe what's happening. Like obviously back in the day, the internet was just wasn't accepted, and people kind of just sort of turned a bit of a blind eye to it, and sort of just said oh yeah, that'll never take off, or like you've just said, shopping on the internet will never be a thing, or what have you. So yeah, I think crypto's in that sort of phase where people are kind of starting to maybe accept it a bit more mainstream. Still obviously has a lot of hurdles, and there's just so much going on, like you said as well. Even working in the space full time, it's just like really quite overwhelming to try and keep your finger on the pulse. And
Exactly.
there's just so many projects out there, and so many, different use cases just, being invented by the day. It's just, yeah, it's insane.
But that's the amazing thing too, don't you think? Because it's like just regular people like you and me sitting at home being like, I have an idea, I know how to code this, let me develop it. And that's the magic of it, because it's real people that actually see a need for something, or they see a solution for something that they know how to solve. And we're not just waiting around for big corporations or governments or banks to do it for us and to give us an answer that they think is good for us. It's just regular people working on stuff. And yeah, it gets overwhelming because I mean, in a world of almost 8 billion people, there's a lot of opinions and a lot of different ways to do things. But I think that's the cool thing. And just like capitalism, the best will rise to the top. So right now we might be overwhelmed with like, oh my God, there's like thousands of coins and so many different use cases. But eventually, there might be like top, I don't know, 10, 20. And then eventually the longer crypto is here, we'll have the top 50. And then, the S&P 500 might just be, all crypto stuff, not crypto coins, but I mean like companies that are giving us blockchain solutions.
Interesting. On that, with your FTX background, with trading and stuff before getting into crypto, what do you sort of think about having an ETF product? Do you think that's a good thing for the crypto space? Obviously, providing exposure, at any kind of level, wholesale and retail, or do you think that it's kind of taking a little bit away from what crypto is all about, like being decentralized and all that sort of stuff? Do you see it as a positive or a negative?
Yeah, that's a super great question, because on the surface level, to let's say, a crypto purist, as I like to call it, or a crypto elitist, it's like, no, like this is totally against what we want. But you really have to think about the future of crypto. You have to think long-term crypto, because if everybody wants mass adoption as much as they say they do, then they will see that a crypto ETF is needed, because what it does is it gets all sorts of people exposed to the crypto market where they otherwise might not be, right? Not everyone is comfortable with being their own bank. But if somebody has an ETF as an option to, get their toes wet in the water and see that, hey, like I can make really good gains from this, then that is, the step in the right direction. And an ETF is just going to bring more people, like our parents' generations or people that are more risk adverse. This is going to open the doors for them. And I think that's really, really needed. So yeah, even though it's kind of against, what crypto is about, it's really helping adoption in the long run.
I totally agree. That's such a good way to sum it up. Yeah, I think there's going to be so many people like you've just said, our parents is probably a good example where, they're interested in cryptocurrency, but trying to, explain to them, how to set up a wallet or what have you can be quite a difficult process. And they're obviously quite risk averse as well. They don't like to have that responsibility of being their own bank. They would like to just bank as normal, and if something goes wrong, they've got someone to call or go and see, or what have you. And obviously in crypto you don't have that. So yeah, that's a really good sort of way to sum up what's happening. And I do also agree with you as well. I think an ETF is a positive step in the right direction, even though it's not along the narrative of what crypto is supposed to be about, being decentralized and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, I think it's good to tap into markets that might not get exposure to crypto if there wasn't an ETF sort of product out there.
Exactly.
So
Yeah. I think everybody needs to kind of put their ego aside and think long term, think macro, think for the greater good. Because if ETFs pick up, then more corporations, more financial institutions will offer it, and that's a good thing. And
absolutely.
then we will actually all benefit from the price increase. So
Yeah. And who doesn't like
people that
that?
join in, yeah, exactly. I mean, everybody, people who are getting in the ETFs, they want to join for the price increase for the gains.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so we can all gain.
Absolutely. Look, we've been going for about 30 odd minutes. Hillorie, do you have any sort of closing thoughts for the viewers?
Closing thoughts. Let's see. It's 2021. If you're not involved in crypto, I suggest you get on it as soon as possible. First, start with your education, and then, decide where you want to go from there, because there are so many things you can do. Like we talked about, you can even develop your own blockchain and smart contract, but I know that's a bit tedious. So just get educated first and participate in crypto, because it is here to stay.
Awesome. And where can people find out a bit about yourself and obviously the courses you run, Hillorie?
So I named my business Crypto to Riches as a homage to Rags to Riches. So you can find all about me and what I teach at learn.cryptotoriches.com.
Awesome. Thank you so much for your time today. I really appreciate it. I know it's late where you are, so
Thanks, Ryan. No
thanks.
problem.